It's all right. All right, all right, all right. Picked this up the other day. It's all right. Couple of bags. That's the Batman. Random stuff. And all the Matchbox cars that I had when I was a kid. And some I commandeered from my brother. And a Magnavox Odyssey 2, some of the games, 6-switcher Atari, Genesis, a couple GameCubes, NES original, that's what's playing, SNES, several NES games, I don't even know. And then N64, Atari Jaguar, not impressed with it. Dreamcast, and then the Atari games and some Odyssey 2 games, and then Sega, some loose SNES, and then some boxed SNES. Cars. And these are cheap right now and pretty easy to get, so I've started collecting them, which I got a feeling that's something that's going to catch on, and VHS tapes are just going to go ridiculous like the NES games, because used to you could get an NES game for, if you couldn't get it out of the garbage can, or for a quarter somebody would give it to you, and now something like this terrible game is 30 bucks, or this terrible game is like $25. So these are at a quarter right now. And I was born in '81, so all the movies like Gladiator was a big one, and Men in Black, Jurassic Park, Fugitive, City Slickers, Forrest Gump, all that stuff was, in theaters in the, round about the 90s or so. And it's just a totally different experience when you watch your VHS tapes, and it's not as good a quality as DVD, but I really like it. So it's nostalgic, and that's what the whole point of this is, nostalgia. Some more cars, comics, Captain, Superman, a few Superman things. I put a HO scale train that I had, of course that's so southern, but I built a little train track all the way around the roof, because I'm not going to build a layout. I don't have the skills, the time, nor the space. So planes, trains, and automobiles, buddy. And I'll go around to that side in a minute. But so that's the retro area. And then this was all the stuff that I saved from like Happy Meals and McDonald's and Burger King and all of that stuff growing up. Big pickle jar. Some Playmates lights and sound, blurring, lights and sound ships. And then there's some carded Trek figures way back there behind all of that. For me, I just assume not even have wallpaper, just cover everything in carded figures. And then this was the Star Trek shelf. Most of this, well, all of that was from being real little. I got that at Christmas one year. A friend of mine gave me that little star. And then there's the Star Wars shelf. And they stuff just I've tacked everywhere. Security, Muppets, and then they stuff under here. Yeah, the lighting's terrible, but it's a whole lot more comfortable when you actually in the room. I got these big fluorescent lights that just suck the life right out of you, and I don't like to run those. And then the collector 12-inch, some loose ones, Big Vader, little Diane, more comics. I went to a couple toy stores up in Chicago here the other day, and it was just like sensory overload. And they had stuff hanging from the ceilings and climbing up the wall. And I thought, what? That's exactly what my little room is missing, is stuff hanging from the ceiling. So I come and I broke mine out of the box, hung it up. I thought it looked pretty cool. And then all that stuff. I mean, you can tell, like when I was a kid, Mama, she always kept a lookout, because that's what it started out, and that's what she got it for. And then some of this stuff, like this right here, 24 bucks for that. You can't buy a freaking one figure for $24 now. Like my son's 14, and I went there to get him an action figure, and where's it at? One like something like this right here, that costs as much as that. It's sad, man. Just sad. Because now the figures that were like these over here, which were cool, had real clothes and all that stuff that really made your imagination work, look like this right here, which that was a walkie-talkie or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was super cheap. And then there's Stay Puft. And I got a hodgepodge in here that you can't see. Let's see if it's light. Oh, there we go. Some of the old stuff that I had when I was a kid that I didn't ever open, and the Crash Up guys. There's a Home Alone SNES and a Talk Boy. Mr. T. Batman. Batmobile. Monsters. And another thingy jig. And then Stormtrooper. And this one, like the garden center at Walmart, it's like faded and beat up. I remember when they had like walls of these things just stacked up because nobody bought them. And I don't even think the final price was on. I think it was like $2 or something when I got it when I was about 12 or something. And more box ships. AC, which I need to turn on, is like 90 degrees in here. Batman Returns. A couple magazines. The Duke Boys. I actually got to meet Tom Wopat here a while back. He came, they was filming a movie called County Line, which is pretty good. It's filmed in my hometown. The shootouts were a little corny, but I thought he done a good job. More loose stuff. Ta-da. Run out of wall space, start using the ceiling. And Duke Boys. This right here was like one of 2 Spider-Man toys that I had when I was a kid, because Spider-Man evidently was in some kind of legal copyright battle or something, I don't know. So nobody ever made Spider-Man toys. And KB Toys had this thing, and it was the only Spider-Man thing that you could get. And I begged Mom and Dad to get it, so they got it for me. And I've kept it just absolutely pristine. Another GameCube, this little Art Games Genesis. Some G.I. Joe DVDs. A PlayStation Slim. I'm buried under there. Another SNES. My little girl, she loves to play the Buster Busts Out or something other. So that's like the last toy that I ever got from Toys R Us, and it was like $10. And down below that, I got Road Rash on the Trinitron, this sleek Trinitron that I got another one, but it's got a crackle on the side. But and then that's playing on a original PS1. And then you go, Joe. Let's see. And then up here, try to do it. That's Anakin with Anakin Starfighter with a Shadows of the Empire Luke in it. And some cups, DVDs, some carded Trek guys, a Taco Bell box. I got that when the special edition came out. People was like, "You're stupid. Why are you saving a Taco Bell box?" I thought it was cool. I was born in '81, so when I was born, like all the Star Wars toys were like Return of the Jedi, and of course I was an infant, so I wasn't playing with them. So by the time I got up old enough to play with them, they didn't even sell them, and they were the coolest. So I had to settle for the Star Trek stuff, in which, unless you wanted Picard with the booger picking hand with his 2 fingers out, you really was out of luck, because that's about all there was. And then some more stuff on the ceiling. Corvette. Nice. It's not cobwebs, it's hot glue, because I don't screw anything to the ceiling. And some more Joe stuff. More Joe stuff. A couple comics. Comics. And a little desk where I could come study. A light bar off a cop car. Some stuff down below that. And that light actually come off. My dad was a cable man. That was on his van when I was a kid. And he would, I just picture fit. Every time I had to see him go, I'd just run out to the front porch, and it was a Chevy van with like a boom and a bucket on it. And that light was on top, just like that. I made a toy replica of it, but I'd beg him to turn the light on, and he just kind of shake his head, smile, and turn it on, and go up. Our driveway was a long dirt driveway, and he'd go all the way to the end of it with the light on. It just made my day. Yeah. So this was a Richard Petty Good Times van, and my brother, when we was kids, we had 2 matching ones like this, and of course they got absolutely demolished. And so I found that one, and yes, I ruined it. I ripped all the original stickers off, and took a boom. I still got to get the little bucket thing for the back, but Daddy was a hero, so I wanted toys. So I actually made a 12-inch. That was my daddy, Jerry Northland. Batman was cool and Superman was cool, but Daddy was a real hero, so he took care of us. And then that was another thing I got right there here the other day from Toys R Us. They said it's July 8th now, and they said they'll be closing at the end of the month, so I decided I was going to buy the first thing that popped out on me, and that was the first thing that really stood out. Yeah. And then I think I already showed these. Admiral. And then John Luke. And I thought this guy was pretty cool. He was in a couple episodes. He was supposed to be like a transporter accident clone thing, which I think they ought to make a whole TV show about him being like a pirate, Star Trek pirate. But so there's a light bar, another fire truck. Got that when I was a kid. Put batteries in it the other day. I think it still works. Have to turn it on. Let's see. Yeah, I like to move it around because the gears don't get stuck. Yeah, and because I'm a big kid and I like to play with toys. Sue me. VHS tapes, blank ones. Just I found those, which that's really the best quality VHS tapes, because I was trying to burn copies of stuff that I had recorded on like my GoPro and stuff like that, and then I put them on my laptop and I try to burn them to a disc, and you know, 6 months later, after you've done deleted it off your camera and deleted it off the hard drive of your laptop, you go put your burnt disc into somebody else's DVD player and it don't work. And I thought, well, what stinking good is that? Because what happens when the one and only DVD player that I've got stops working and they don't make it anymore? Because believe it or not, companies do that. And so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna put everything on VHS. I know the picture's not as good, but at least I know a VHS tape. I got VHS tapes that I recorded when I was a little kid, and they're perfect, fine, nothing wrong with them. And at least I know that, because honestly, past what will be my children's children, my grandchildren's generation, there's nobody gonna be interested in what I did anyway. So at least I want to put it on a medium that is accessible and operable to my generation, my child's generation, and my grandchildren's generation. After that, well, bless their hearts, they'll just have to figure something out. And so these are the Joes that I had when I was a kid. A couple of them my brothers. Again, I commandeered them. That one in the brown shirt, it's a knockoff. Most of my Joes are knockoffs. They're not even real Joes, because we figured out we could get 2 knockoffs for the price of 1. So we got 2 knockoffs for the price of 1 at Kmart. Another place gone out of business. But that was called the American Defense Line, and that there is a dude named Ramrod, and I don't remember any of the rest of them really. A pre-special edition, but not the original release. Kellogg's Mail-Off Han Solo. A couple of yard sale D2s that I found just freaked me out. This little dude right here, found him in a sandwich bag in the bottom of a box. Kirk, more VHS tapes, a couple books, a couple DVDs, Overflow, Vacuum, a couple Batman, another Vader, Spider-Man. These are pretty good. I don't really even use the DVD recorder side of it, because again, half of them don't, that you try to put your disc in, it don't work. So Puppet Time, couple tractors. Up here is the Odyssey box, Retron 3. There's a Hot Wheels car thing that I had. That's some kind of Transformer. It was my brother's. I only keep it because it was his, and it's old or whatever. But anyway, so cop car, more comics. My brother won a contest and won a Volkswagen, and somebody had took the time and etched an eagle in the back. So I got him built, made him a little toy. I obviously not an artist, but tried to put a little eagle in the back for him. And get my thumb stuck in it. My first fire truck, Nylent. Joe. Diamond Select box. Actually got the contents at my house where I can look at it often, more stuff. And I don't remember his name, Bert or Ernie, but when I was a kid, I called him Name, because my mom would play puppet time with me and she'd say, "What's my name?" And I'd say, "Name." So that's Name. Some loose Matchbox cars, of course, had to be bucket trucks. Daddy was a cable man, he had a bucket truck, so I wanted to play with bucket trucks. More ships, which I thought that was probably my favorite, probably the coolest. E.T. A something other anniversary, I think it was the 7th season, I don't remember. So I think it's 7th season. And then another GameCube, original NES. And I like these hooked up. I mean, you can turn the television on and play them. And then over here I got another NES or SNES. Only original Master System I got. That was like one of my favorite systems, but we never actually owned one. A good friend of my brother, Jeremy Powers, he would loan us not only games, but he would let us borrow his whole system. He was so cool to let me and my brother take his whole system and take it home with us. And I don't know, I just always thought that was awesome of him. And another Genesis, We Were Soldiers. I thought that was a good movie. And then a Willys, which, I mean, obviously I'm in the Willys. Game Boy, some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff, the big stuff. I got a shelf of figures over there. And then this is a little area that my girls come in and destroy. I try to keep it organized, but the Ghostbuster house, and it's sad because they're not making cool toys, at least in my opinion. So they come over here and play with the Ghostbuster toys I had when I was a kid. And then there is spare screen, an old 8-track, and a vinyl record player that my grandmother gave me, and an Xbox, flat screen that's hooked to the Xbox. I really don't have any cool games for it, so I just leave it turned off. Behind that is a whole bunch of comics. Big old Spider-Man, super articulated. Some Ghostbuster stuff, a couple more Batman. Terminator. And there's Rocketeer. Comics. I got this the other day, and I had no idea. There was like a secondhand shop, and it was $10 in there. I was like, I don't want one. That's Rogue One. I don't even want one. And then I go to, I don't remember, Walmart or something, and I saw it. It was like $50-something. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. For a little spaceship, $50? How's a kid gonna buy that? And so, of course, I went straight back and gave them $10 and bought it. And then more hanging stuff. And then comics. Got that when I guess they stopped selling the special edition stuff. They had like an 8-foot tall poster of Vader that started breathing every time you walked in front of it, and my neighbor won it, and I don't think I won that. I think the woman felt sorry for me and gave it to me. And more Trek stuff, some RC cars, more comics, and there's a Pizza Hut box from episode 1. Of course, I was crazy for saving a pizza box. And this is the other Trinitron, and it's got a little crack right there. But the awesome thing is, like CRTs, and I'm sure there's some funky fancy name for that because it's a flat screen, whatever. But that one and the other one was totally like Craigslist side of the street giving it away, and I just couldn't help, I got on this Trinitron kick for a little while and grabbed every one I could grab. Of course, I only got 2 out of it, but they were free, so. And then another PS1 original, 2 or 3 baseball cards. And then let's see, let's go that way. Yeah. Oh, I got this. I thought that was going to be the last Toys R Us toy that I bought, which I thought that movie was cool. Really underrated, but it was a good movie. And there is one of my old uniforms that got decommissioned. I was actually that skinny, or skinnier than that, but so then I got a couple spares, originals, a couple spare Wii's, spare Genesis, Power Pad, or Vantage, excuse me, Vantage, some controllers, and then the Hot Wheels thing. A friend of mine come up and said, "Hey man, I found some Matchbox cars," even though they're Hot Wheels. "I found some Matchbox cars at a yard sale. I'll take, I don't know, I think it was 30 bucks or something for them." And so, yeah, I said, yeah, somebody's selling their collection. But here's Superman, the loser version that like was terrible just because they were trying to Christopher Reeves it, and old buddy wasn't Christopher Reeves, but Superman nonetheless, at least a version of it. I think that's like the only G.I. Joe that I got that's still in the package. More loose stuff, or carded stuff. And then Batman is about to go get shot down by one single long barrel 38 special revolver. More Hot Wheels. I thought these were pretty cool. They're like what the cars that you would have got back in the day. And stuffed animals. I had a slew of stuffed animals when I was a kid. And my girls, they come over here. This, for whatever reason, that's one of the favorites. Monster, my pet monster, terrified me. Couldn't stand to sleep around it. One of the favorite comics. Batman's Depressed. And then right here is my grandpa's old. He was a security dude for a little while for it. May have been the same factory he ended up working in, I don't know. And then spare trains, a couple of tags. Turn my train off. I'm not a like avid hobbyist when it comes to Mall Railroad, so like this whole track is run off of one power supply, so it's like super fast in spots and super slow in spots. And the guy told me like, well, you can run feeder wire halfway to see how it gets faster there. And so me and old J-Bar is gonna do that one day. And it's like that's froze. Matchbox cars right here. 18. The Fall Guy. Kind of like junk. And then in here is where some of the Marvel stuff is at. Just because I run out of room in there. RoboCop. Captain Planet. More stuff. And then all the turtle, most of the turtle stuff is kind of spread out, but it's good bits right here. And this dude here, Inspector Gadget, I think that was a Burger King thing that you had to like come in every so many weeks. This got hit by a bush hog and was destroyed. So I picked it up out of the ditch, because that's actually my daddy's name. I picked it up out of the ditch and I brought it in here. So anybody got a complaint about me picking up destroyed property and left as refuge and litter, please send your complaints to www.nobodygivesacrap.com. Thank you so much. And that's about it. Go Joe.